The Real Creepy Death Behind Annabelle by Anna Solves. What's good? How you day going? Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. Now, maybe you all already knew hell about Annabelle. Me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I learned about Annabelle from freaking The Conjuring, whatever. So I was like, oh snap, this doll looks hella freaking creepy. If you know me, know when it comes to the horror world, slow down. When it comes to the horror world, I can never say that together. H-O-R-R-O-R. When it comes to horror, my top two has always been freaking dolls and freaking cults. Those always been my top genres when it comes to scary movies, whatever, right? So as I learned about Annabelle, I was like, okay, this doll might be a little scary. So I watched the first one, whatever, when it came, well, Annabelle, out of The Conjuring, Annabelle, when it came out. I'm not gonna lie, didn't like it. I hated it, especially for someone who obviously loved Chucky. I freaking love Chucky, dog. I was like, I had to compare the two because they're both dolls. Even though I'm not gonna lie, Annabelle would kill the shit out of Chucky. Annabelle's legit a damn demon. You know what? A lot of people sleep on, I should say, is freaking Robert. A lot of people don't know about that doll. Yo, creepy ass shit. Now hear about that one though right now, right? And a lot of y'all said like, yo, you actually should look into like the backstory of Annabelle, because actually Annabelle is based off a real doll. You ain't gotta believe in this ish or not. We just talking horror-ish right now. Like, yo, it's actually based off a real doll. So I was like, really? So I was like, all right. Get to looking into it just a little bit, not a lot though, not gonna lie. And I was like, yeah, didn't really care. Again, the reason why is because after watching the first movie and I hated it so much, you may have loved it. Maybe if you're one of the people that connect all the movies, then you really love it, whatever. Either way, go back to just my POV though. So I was like, I didn't care, so I stopped, whatever. Then once I found like the real look right here, this rag doll looking one, whatever, I was like, okay, this is kind of more creepier because this one legit looks like a kid toy at this point. Not saying the one in the movie didn't look creepy. The one in the movie looks really fucking creepy, not gonna lie to you. But this rag doll one, that looks more creepier to me because that legit looks like a kid. Back to the story though. So I was like, all right, I'll spend one of these days kind of going down learning about this doll, because I don't know why I love dolls when it comes to horror movies. Freaking Puppet Master, freaking love it. Chucky, yo, fun fact about Chucky real quick though. Did you know like his full name? We ain't gonna spend too much time on Chucky. Now hear about Chucky. He was based off a serial killer. Freaking Charles, based off of Charles Manson. Lee was who, what was it? Lee Harvey, I think, the guy who assassinated JFK. And then Ray, I always forget this one. I want to say James Earl Ray, guy who assassinated Martin Luther King. That's how you got Charles Lee Ray. Either way it go though. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll go ahead and look more to Annabelle, back on Annabelle. Part 2 came out, or maybe it's part 3. I don't know. I'm not following the whole Conjuring series. I'm not gonna lie to you. It did, as a horror fan, didn't grab me like that. Either way it go though, I get to watching it. It made me a little bit say, you know what? I kind of can see where it's coming from. This doll may be creepy. I like it a little bit. One day I'll go ahead and dive down the whole little backstory, see what's really going on. Still didn't do it. So once I saw this one by Anna Solves, I was like, you know what? This is perfect. I wanted to learn more about Annabelle anyway, to see what's going on, to see why so many people are scared of this doll, because I'm not gonna lie, to me, it doesn't creep me out. Yo, about to go check out The Real Creepy Death Behind Annabelle. You wanna check out the original video? Link will be in the description below, but let's go.
Sometimes there's nothing better than curling up on your couch and enjoying the heck out of being scared. And one thing that scares an awful lot of people is toy dolls. From Chucky to the boy, there's just something about a blank expression and a pair of glass eyes that wigs people out, you know? But perhaps the most popular of these creepy toys right now is Annabelle, especially because she has a true story behind her, and it might—
So is that true? Annabelle is the most popular out of just all the dolls in general? Man, I wish people would dive more into Robert, dog. Robert is creepy as shit.
Is Annabelle, especially because she has a true story behind her, and it might even be more terrifying than the films. So first, check under your bed, and then let's check this out. Now, we might all be very familiar with the movie version of Annabelle. In The Conjuring from 2013, the film opens with a spooky true story. A porcelain doll was given to a hapless student nurse, only it soon began to act weird. And then it got super scary. But compared to the true story that inspired the movie, there are some pretty huge differences. For a start, Annabelle was nothing like the creepy doll in The Conjuring. It was actually this. This sweet old little rag doll looks pretty harmless. right? Now, like I said, it looks nothing like the one from the film, which I would never want to keep in my house. I could actually understand wanting to own the Raggedy Ann, which is exactly how all of this started. Way back in 1970, when a woman gave her daughter, Deidre, although some sources call her Donna, a Raggedy Ann doll for her 28th birthday. Guess she was inspired by this old commercial?
Your kids will have as much fun with Raggedy Ann as you did.
I know. It seems a little odd for a grown-up to get a doll, but it was a cute gift all the same. Maybe Deidre owned one when she was growing up, and
I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? Okay, hold up. Maybe I do want to go down this little Conjuring journey, because as I was like, some of those clips were familiar. Because I told you I did watch it. It didn't grab me. Either way go. As I was like re-seeing some of those clips, I'm like, yo, that shit does look creepy. But then again, that is how scary movies get you, though. You may love the whole little universe. I'm sorry if you do. It didn't grab me. Ah, damn. I'm sorry. I love horror, but it didn't grab me. Either way go, though. But that's how a lot of them get you. They show you the good scary parts. So it's like, oh, I can't wait to watch this shit. It's gonna be so good. Then you watch it and it's like, ah, that didn't grab me. Like, where it really lost me was the fucking Nun. Real quick, gonna get back to the video. Right now, my horror fanatic is coming out. The Nun part killed me so. I was legit so pissed because that character design is so fire. Like, do you know how scary that Nun looked? I was like, oh, this movie is gonna be top fucking tier. I hated every part of the damn movie. I ain't trying to offend you if you love the whole universe of the Conjuring universe. I really wanted to. It seems fun. But it wasn't. Insidious. I think that was part of it. That was good. Fucking was loving it. Conjuring. I was loving the Conjuring. All right, no more ranting and offending you. I'm gonna let the video finish.
Doll for her 28th birthday. Guess she was inspired by this old commercial?
Your kids will have as much fun with Raggedy Ann as you did.
I know. It seems a little odd for a grown-up to get a doll, but it was a cute gift all the same. Maybe Deidre owned one when she was growing up, and her mom wanted to give her something a little nostalgic. The story goes that Deidre, or Donna, was a student nurse who lived with her roommate in an apartment building. She used to take the doll to bed with her, but it wasn't long before she started noticing her sweet, cuddly doll acting super weird. At first, she found it sitting in different places on her bed. Then it started turning up in completely different rooms from where she'd left it. Deidre started bringing it to breakfast with her, and she and her roommate saw it move its arms on their own. Finding all this more interesting than scary, the nurses thought that the doll had a spirit inside of it. So they got in touch with a medium to speak to it. They held a seance, and the spirit actually spoke to them. The medium told them that the Raggedy Ann doll was hosting the spirit of Annabelle Higgins, a girl who had passed away and was possibly murdered near their apartment building when she was very young. Annabelle's spirit was lonely, and she had sensed kindness in the two nurses, so she hung out within the doll.
Last stop, dog. Look, I do feel like spirits live in dolls. I do feel like when I see those really old ones, the reason why I feel like that, because I feel like even movies give us hints. Perfect example, Chucky. When you get the heart of Dembala. That was one of the things I talk about. People like to handicap him on. They don't like to give him that shit because he can really use some powers with that. But we ain't gonna get into that. I mean, it's what he naturally got, but we ain't gonna get into that. With the heart of Dembala, that's what he does. That's what he do with it. That's the only thing he do with it. It's more he can do with it, but that's the only thing he needed for it. It's to transfer his soul. So I was like, okay, I always thought that, and then my favorite horror character is based on that as well. It's basically putting his spirit, his soul into a doll. So when I be seeing them old dolls, I do feel like they move. I told y'all my story about my niece, about the doll. I might tell y'all again at the end. I told y'all like 50 million times. I don't care because the shit is true, dog. This shit is creepy, and it's about a doll. I might tell y'all again at the end. And keep in mind, at the time we lived on a plantation. Let's watch this damn video, dog. One more hit.
She asked if they would make her part of their home because they were both so young, passed away, and was possibly murdered near their apartment building when she was very young. Annabelle's spirit was lonely, and she had sensed kindness in the two nurses, so she hung out within the doll. She asked if they would make her part of their home. Because they were both caring people, the two nurses immediately agreed to let Annabelle hang out with them, which makes them braver than me. I'd have moved apartments. Instead, they welcomed Annabelle and treated her like a person, just like she wanted. They even gave her clothes and bracelets to wear. Unfortunately, sweet Annabelle—
But if you deny it, won't you feel like it's just gonna haunt me anyway? All I'm saying is, listen to me. Listen to me. Why not? Oh, listen to me. Why not accept it? Fuck it. Let's see what's going on the other side of the world, of this universe, of my conscience. Let's see what. I'm sorry, dog. If I see a ghost or a spirit, which I don't believe I will ever see, I'm talking to it. That's all I'm saying.
Which makes them braver than me. I'd have moved apartments. Instead, they welcomed Annabelle and treated her like a person, just like she wanted. They even gave her clothes and bracelets to wear. Unfortunately, sweet Annabelle was about to show her true colors, and she wasn't at all what they thought. More odd things began to happen around the doll.
I'd have been fucked.
More odd things began to happen around the doll. The nurses started to hear knocking sounds, their rooms would get cold for no reason, and they heard creepy whispering, which they just couldn't explain. Then one night, after their shifts had both ended at the same time, the two nurses came home to find Annabelle standing up in the hallway, like she was waiting for them. Remember, this is a very floppy doll with very soft legs.
So you was out with that bitch again, huh? Stop playing.
Like she was waiting for them. Remember, this is a very floppy doll with very soft legs. When they tried to make her do that standing pose again, it was totally impossible.
Oh yeah, because it's a rag doll. I was picturing the doll from the movie. Ain't no rag doll standing up like that.
Legs. When they tried to make her do that standing pose again, it was totally impossible. One of the students had a fiance who wanted them to just get rid of Annabelle. He even said that they should burn her. That sounded like a pretty good idea, but I think saying this in front of her was his big mistake. That night, he had a terrifying nightmare that Annabelle had floated right above him and then tried to strangle him. He could not get her to move. Freaked out by this nightmare, when he woke up, he threw Annabelle across the room and yelled at her. Suddenly, 7 big scratches appeared on his body. If that wasn't terrifying enough, the nurses began getting creepy messages on parchment paper. The weirdest part was that none of them owned parchment paper. While they tried appeared on his body. If that wasn't terrifying enough, the nurses began getting creepy messages on parchment paper. The weirdest part was that none of them owned parchment paper. While they tried to see if anyone was breaking in, their tests on the doors seemed to prove that the apartment was free of intruders. So, this was all on their new housemate, Annabelle. The final straw came when they found little spots of what seemed like blood on Annabelle's hands and chest. It was time to call in some help. So they went to their local Catholic church for guidance. But their priest knew some paranormal professionals who would be able to clear this up once and for all.
Who you gonna call?
Now, you know that sweet married couple from the Conjuring movies?
Well, we've been called ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Ed and Lorraine Warren founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, NESPR, way back in 1952. They made a living helping people with ghosts and other things in between. Over the next 40 years, they apparently investigated over 10,000 alleged hauntings and demonic possessions. So, in the 1970s and 80s, this was who you were gonna call if there was a spook in your basement, attic, or toy box.
The thing is this. The thing that's getting me. Story-wise, oh, this is good. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm like, okay, what if they was finessing? What if they was running scams? I'm looking at the possibilities, dog. I am. I'm playing both sides. I really am. I'm putting myself on the other side. Like, all right, let's just take this for 100% being real. No cap. How would I look at it? I'm doing that. I'm also over here in these shoes too, like, but hold up. Because I get it, just because there was this lovely couple and back then, I want to, oh, look, they wouldn't do that. I want to do that. But at the same time, this side, he don't want to do that. He like, no, hold up, because yeah, he was probably scamming back then. The reason why I say that, because, I'm not going to lie to you, the story, it don't sound real so far to me. I'm not going to lie, when I heard a little bit of Robert shit, I was believing it. And I think this is why Annabelle wasn't really grabbing me that much, because it felt too possessed. It felt like possessed. Couldn't find no word there, dog. Let's get back to the video. Shit good though. It sounds like a really good story. It sounds like a really amazing story is what I'm saying. like someone put it together. But who knows? That does not block mean it's fake.
Demonic possessions. So, in the 1970s and 80s, this was who you were gonna call if there was a spook in your basement, attic, or toy box.
Brings us to the 3 stages of demonic activity: infestation, oppression, and possession. The infestation, that's the whispering, the footsteps, the feeling of another presence.
This is the real Lorraine Warren.
In 1971, the Raggedy Ann
Don't get me wrong, I believe people can be possessed. I'm talking about this story in general is what I'm talking about, but isn't it crazy how working levels like that start off like little shit, like just working its way, like make you think you're going crazy. Next thing you know, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Another presence.
This is the real Lorraine Warren.
In 1971, the Raggedy Ann version of Annabelle would be their first major case. They interviewed the student nurses to see if they could help with Annabelle's bad behavior. But the Warrens were horrified when they heard that the nurses were treating Annabelle like a real person because they had a really good idea of what she really was.
So they were
Something totally terrifying.
God does not allow the spirit of a child to go into a doll. This was a demon who was posing as that little child to create sympathy to these 2 young women.
So, what could they do to stop something that evil?
See, it just sounds so, man.
Sounds like an exorcism was needed, which is a very risky ceremony. Luckily, Ed Warren was one of the only people in the Catholic Church allowed to perform that ritual. The Warrens cleansed the house, the nurses, and their partners of Annabelle's evil influence. But the doll was much too powerful to leave lying around. Deidre must have been so relieved when the Warrens agreed to take Annabelle back to their place for safekeeping. The Warrens did not have a happy drive home with her either. And apparently, the car broke down a lot on the journey back. I think we know who to blame for that. Things didn't calm down until they splashed Annabelle with holy water. That's pretty scary. But even when they finally got Annabelle to her new home, the creepiness kept coming. Ed says he caught the doll floating beside his desk, so they kept her in a separate part of their house. But Annabelle still wasn't done. Even the priests weren't safe. The Warrens were friends with a priest who one day took them for a ride in his brand new car. Later, he asked to see Annabelle the doll. When he looked at her, he picked her up and threw her across the room. According to Ed, the priest said,
God is more powerful than a devil.
but that didn't stop Annabelle from messing with them. A few hours later, the priest drove home only to get into a major accident.
Half of his car was sheared off by a tractor-trailer truck. He should have been killed, but he lived. The last thing he remembers seeing was the image of that doll.
But he was luckier than most. In another story, a homicide detective who had probably seen some extremely nasty stuff in his career had picked up Annabelle while Ed Warren was out of the room. It's unclear what she did to the guy, but it left him too traumatized to speak about it. In fact, they kept all the cursed objects from their case files, just like Annabelle, in their Oculate museum. It's a vault for nightmares.
Everything in here has been taken from some place where
And is that the real room? Oh my gosh, look at this. This looks creepy. It looks like a mannequin with a wig on it, and oh my god, look at this shit. My bad, I ain't mean to go off track. But it looked like a mannequin with a wig on it, that's it. But the hand motions just look weird, like. I'm just looking around the room real quick, my bad, man. I ain't gonna lie. This shit is creepy, though.
It's like Annabelle in their Oculate museum. It's a vault for nightmares.
everything in here has been taken from some place where people are either killed or maimed or so many ways.
I can't believe that this was right beside their house. Though they got all these objects blessed by a priest once a week, the Warrens never destroyed them in case they released the demonic energy inside. Plus, they got to charge for admission. How did they get all of this? Like I said earlier, Annabelle was only their first really terrifying case. But she's definitely the most dangerous object they kept there. But their measures still weren't good enough. The creepiest Annabelle story of all is when a group of college students visited the museum. One student mocked the Annabelle doll, daring her to slash him.
See?
This was a very bad idea. Ed Warren threw him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, and that's one thing I don't do. Whether I believe in something or not, one thing I'm not gonna do is play with it. All right, you don't believe something, then keep it pushing. get disrespectful if you want. I legit be looking at scary movies like some of them do be giving us hints. Like Candyman. His hint is basically Don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. Keep my name out your mouth, and you won't see me, dog. Well, let me go back. Social media crazy, dog. When I saw that meme, I was like, dog, that's legit what Candyman is. Don't mess with me, I won't mess with you, dog.
Visited the museum. One student mocked the Annabelle doll, daring her to slash him. This was a very bad idea. Ed Warren threw him and his girlfriend out of the museum, and they drove off on their motorbike.
Less than 3 hours later, that boy was dead. His girlfriend, who had been with him on a motorcycle, said he was laughing about the doll, smashed into a tree, head-on, was killed instantly.
The girlfriend survived but was hospitalized for a year. Pretty creepy stuff, right? The Warrens say that you shouldn't challenge the devil, and this just seems to prove it.
Candyman told us.
The Warrens were involved in a lot of other famous hauntings too. Many of them you might just recognize from the movies. One of the most famous was the
oh my gosh, when I say really tragic, really unfortunate for the event that happened, really is. But the possession of the house is what I want to talk about. The creepiest shit ever. I don't know why I just did that. I don't know, but that's my love for Amityville. And the thing is, when it comes to my top horror movies, I hate that I leave Amityville horror out a lot. A lot of people did. I liked the 1975. I guess I'm looking at that year. The old one, because I didn't want to say that. I liked the old one. I ain't gonna lie, I liked it. But I liked the recent one too. The one from I think 2006, 2004. It was the one, I want to say Ryan Reynolds was in it. I think that was dog. This one, a lot of people dislike this one, and it's cool. You can go ahead and get your little hating on how I was hating on everything earlier. That's cool with me. But I love this one, like legit, like love this one. Like this is one of the movies I just watch. I just let it play over and over. Like, oh, this shit was so fucking good to me. The part that freaking tripped me out, man. We're gonna get back to the video. My bad, my little horror fan coming out again. All right, so his son woke up. He had to go to the bathroom, but he didn't want to go. Hella scared. So he finally go to the bathroom, get to the bathroom, use it, boom, looking around, trying to make sure nothing happened, whatever. Get to washing his hands, dog. When he look up in the mirror, all he saw this red face behind him, like. Dog, when I say I jumped so hard, and at the time I was young at the time in the movie when that movie came out. You probably were older. I don't know. You probably one of the people that was like, no, I understand this is bullshit. I loved it. For me, it grabbed me though. But that part alone tripped me out. Basically, I said to say this: the event, what happened, we know what the guy living there and what he did to his family, the tragic that happened. I'm not talking about that at all. That's effed up. The way the house is just possessed, the way they say it started and everything, the story is creepy. The way the house is still there. I thought I wanted to visit it one time.
Involved in a lot of other famous hauntings too. Many of them you might just recognize from the movies. One of the most famous was the Amityville Horror in 1975. Here, an evil spirit in a cursed house tormented one family so much that they ran away in the middle of the night. It became a very famous story and a series of over 11 movies.
28 days after the Lutz family moved into their dream house, they were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget.
Amityville is also part of the...
Oh, so glad my pops and my moms let me watch horror as a kid. I love it. I'm sorry, dog. Just hearing that, because that was before my time. But my dad still made me watch shit like that. Salem's Lot, freaking, I couldn't get into Jaws and shit. He used to love that. I didn't like those. But either way it go, he showed me this one. It was really old, but it was so good. My bad, the horror fanatic is out again. I don't remember the name of it. It was black and white. It was this little girl. She was evil as shit, dog. Evil as fuck. And at the end, she wanted to go get this umbrella. What was the name of this freaking movie, man? She went to go get this umbrella. It was like on this dock or something. That's probably not even what happened. I'm kind of trying to put it together. But she go to get it, dog. And when she go to get it, I kid you not, this movie's old as shit. But if you watch it, I'm trying to think, should I spoil it? Because you might want to watch it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's one of those old movies that'll hold up if I watch it today. Cause you know, sometimes like Puppet Master, it's one of my top. But if I tried to watch it again, it didn't hold up. I was like, ugh, ugly. I think this movie will. I'm about to spoil it right now. You can fast forward if you think you want to watch it. But this is what scared me right here. Spoilers coming just in case you want to watch it. She go to the end of the dock to get the umbrella, I think, right? Soon as she go to pick it up, And keep in mind, she was evil as shit the entire movie. Legit killing people and everything, dog. I don't know why I get the whispering. As soon as you go pick it up, this lightning strike go. Boom! And when they hit her, like, it was like, boom, everything was gone and you don't see shit. Bro, as a kid, I was like, and my dad was just sitting there like, I was like, yeah, nigga, like, just looking like, bro, because he used to show me so many scary movies. That was right wording. I don't know why I heard that wrong, man. So many scary movies, dog, when I was a kid. I was like, yo, this is fucking top tier. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm having too much fun watching this video, dog.
An experience in terror you will never forget.
Amityville is also part of The Conjuring 2, but that film was mainly about another big case they were involved in. This one took place in the UK in 1977 and was known as the Enfield Poltergeist.
They're calling it England's Amityville. There is a family that desperately needs our help.
After everything we've seen, there isn't much that rattles either of us anymore. But this one still haunts me.
While the Warrens weren't quite as involved as the film tried to show, it was a super scary case. And it happened to the Hodgson family in a totally normal street in Enfield near London. Teenage sisters Janet and Margaret and their brother Billy were being tormented by an angry ghost called a poltergeist. It did some really weird things, making furniture move on its own and throwing them out of bed. The family constantly making furniture move on its own and throwing them out of bed. The family constantly heard loud knocking on the walls and terrifying noises. If that wasn't creepy enough, they sometimes got possessed.
Do you think there's anyone there just now?
Yeah, I do.
Who's that?
What?
Who the fuck said that?
Who's that?
Yeah, I do.
Who's that?
What?
Who's that, Janet?
Later, they'd realize that the
I might want to go down this Conjuring journey. I might want to do it. My bad, to re-sync up my ish real quick. But I do feel like I'm doing myself a disservice of not like just going down it. I don't know. I might have to check it out though.
There's anyone there just now?
Yeah, I do.
Who's that?
What?
Who's that, Janet?
Later, they'd realize that the creepy voice was being caused by an old man named Bill Wilkins.
I remember that movie.
Bill apparently said, I had a hemorrhage and I fell asleep and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs. Totally terrifying! Other investigators reported seeing Janet floating and toys and shoes were thrown at them while the family was definitely all fast asleep. The strangest part of the Enfield case is that a lot of people saw these supernatural things happening. Trust me, real witnesses are very rare. Friends and neighbors and even a crossing guard had seen the weird events around the house, including Janet floating. Even the police didn't know what to make of a chair moving by itself.
Came off the floor.
I saw a few clips on this one. I'm not gonna lie. This one, it was kind of believable. I'm not even gonna lie, dog.
Know what to make of a chair moving by itself.
Came off the floor, or nearly a ½ inch, I should say, and I saw it slide off to the right, about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to rest.
If even the UK police say it's real, then I'm pretty convinced, aren't you? After 18 months, by about 1979, the haunting finally seemed to stop. But plenty of people don't believe that any of this is real at all. Well, I can't.
I'm not one of those that don't think any of this is not real at all. But I told you the Annabelle one, still not sold on that one.
Haunting finally seemed to stop. But plenty of people don't believe that any of this is real at all. While it can be fun to believe in creepy stuff like this, you do have to wonder if it does more harm than good. For a start, if it is all real, then this probably encourages more people to mess with things that they really shouldn't. And if it isn't real, it probably still affects your mental health in some really damaging ways. Your mind can play some crazy tricks on you. Take the phenomenon of recording the voices of the dead, or EVP, or electric voice phenomenon. It's when you record silence in a room and either a ghost or something else answers on the replay. EVP is used a lot.
Do you know how many times I edit a video and I'd be sitting there listening like, what if I hear something? Like a voice say something. What if I look at something, I'm laughing, hi, hee, hee, I'm editing something, I say, who the fuck face is that? And you know what I really be thinking about? I'd be like, yo, this shit be creeping me out right here. This is one thing I think about a lot that I know won't happen. I'd be like, yo, as I'm recording this video right now, I know what I'm talking about. I'm very aware of everything I'm saying to you guys, everything that I'm doing, my facial expressions, wow, whoa, funny, rude, scary, all that shit, right? I'd be like, what if one day I go to edit a video, right? And I just get this ain't me saying this. This is legit, just my mind thinking this. Off the wall shit. I'm like, if I see me, I'm editing. All right, oh, this part, let me edit this part. Let me see what's going on right here. Boom. And it's something I know I didn't say. Like, I hate playing it. I'm like, man, fuck all y'all niggas. I'm gonna do it. It's just, I'm spazzing out. And then I just start doing creepy shit, like walking around the floor, and I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, I never did that when I was recording. I'd be legit thinking shit like that. I'd be like, dog, what if I'm legit doing some shit? Like, yo, I didn't do that, I didn't say that. And then what if happened? That bitch rendered upload. Now it's like a movie at that point. But it's like, yo, that ain't me. I kid you not, this ain't me. Stop watching the channel. And the channel get the growing like crazy. Like, oh, shit. Damn, I love it. Go back, my bad. I'm sorry. The horror world is just, oh my gosh, it's so fun. So scary. I don't know what it is. Why I like the feeling of it. Oh, shit. Scared as fuck. Like, I don't know why I like the feeling. I don't.
Or something else. Answers on the replay. EVP is used a lot in ghost hunting shows.
And we had a camera in the room where you saw the woman on the bed. And we captured a voice right in this area. He says just one word.
It's a woman's voice.
Or is it? Now, Darren Brown is a professional mind manipulator and often investigates the truth behind a lot of supernatural claims. He asked a forensic engineer for advice. This is someone who translates sounds in court cases, so he has to be truthful. After they played an EVP recording to him, he said,
"To me, more like electronic interference that happened to be picked up by a highly sensitive recorder as a result of radio waves. And I believe you could interpret them as guttural sounds of the voice if you wanted to."
What's sadder is that a lot of these experiences of the haunted people in the Warren case files do fall under symptoms for schizophrenia, addiction issues, and family troubles in general. It's a pity no one was ever allowed to verify anything the Warrens did. Ed didn't tend to let anyone verify the details, although they shared some information in the movies and books. And that's a pretty big red flag to me. Like, the nurses they rescued from Annabelle conveniently refused to appear on any record to at least certify their story.
I've talked with people just recently,
I mean, playing devil's advocate here, could be, it's just like, let's say if it finally did stop, and if you legit going through that, experience that, let's just say if this all's real, and you finally shake it and it's done, I don't want no type of connection, no acknowledgement, no reference. I don't want anything to do with it ever again, neither. So I can see that being the reason why. It's like, nope, you ain't get not a lick, or you ain't even get a look from me about anything. Like, if it's done and it's gone, and it's really what it was, then don't worry about it. I'm good. Like, I ain't messing with dog no more. This nigga crazy.
To at least certify their story.
I've talked with people just recently, as recent as 2 months ago, who know the two nurses. And even today, they don't like to talk about it. They'll never come to our lectures. And they don't want to talk about Raggedy Ann, Annabelle at all.
But what I really have to wonder is if the objects in the museum were really dangerous, then why on earth would the public be allowed near them? Even just to look.
That crossed my mind too. Like, if everything in that mug was legit connected to F with the D on it, don't want to say it. Like, yeah, why would, hey, shit, some people will want to see it, I ain't gonna lie.
Were really dangerous, then why on earth would the public be allowed near them? Even just to look at. It's like getting a tour of a minefield. Totally exciting, but very risky. Just saying. Although the Warrens never directly took money from people they helped, the book sales, seminar tours, and the movies certainly didn't hurt their bank balance. Now, people have been skeptical, and a lot of people called the Warrens liars throughout their careers. It's also a shame that they didn't have access to the kind of cameras and other recording equipment that we have today. And it's also a pity that so many of the cases they worked on had witnesses who preferred to stay anonymous. While I can't blame people for wanting to forget the scary things as fast as possible, it does.
That's why I'm saying that's where it get me. That's why, for me, I can see both sides, dog. If it's done, leave me the fuck alone.
While I can't blame people for wanting to forget the scary things as fast as possible, it does make it all hard to prove.
It does.
Now that both Ed and Lorraine have passed away, the trail has kind of run cold. Though I guess we could do a seance.
No, I'm good.
Just kidding. And whether or not Annabelle Higgins and the Enfield poltergeist are true or a big hoax, they did at least create some really scary movies.
I agree.
And anyway, with deep fakes and the confirmation of real UFOs out there, it's getting harder and harder to be sure of what's a hoax and what isn't. Yeah, makes you think, right? But you know, if it was between a demon and some of the real life monsters I've spoken about in my other videos, I'd probably pick the demon every time. So, what do you think about these scary stories? Is there any truth to—
Hold up.
Annabelle Higgins and the Enfield poltergeist are true or a big hoax, they did at least create some really scary movies. And anyway, with deep fakes and the confirmation of real UFOs out there, it's getting harder and harder to be sure of what's a hoax and what isn't. Yeah, makes you think, right? But you know, if it was between a demon and some of the real life monsters I've spoken about in my other videos, I'd probably pick the demon every time. So, what do you think about these scary stories? Is there any truth to the Warrens' case files? And have you ever had a spooky experience yourself? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
My bad, not gonna lie to you. This one gonna be a little long. This one might have to come out tomorrow. Well, when you see it, it'll be out. Regardless though, I have fun watching this one. Either way it go, I've had my experience with that crap, and I've told you all this story like 5 times. I'm gonna make it real quick just for the people who don't know, because I already told this story hella times because the shit is legit creepy, dog. So at the time we living in Texas, we're living on a plantation, all right? On a plantation, right? So my niece, she's like maybe like 4 or 5. I think she's like either in kindergarten or not even in school yet fully. Either way it go. So my sister, which is her mom, obviously, go into the room, and my niece look at her and she's like, Mom, how come every time you come into the room, my doll stops talking, but when you leave, my doll talks to me? Legit asked her just like that. It was not a toy. It was not a toy that take batteries. It was not one of those operated like toys. Nothing. It was just a little figure, like a little doll, whatever. And when my sister told me the scariest ish after that, dog, when she's like, look, she's like, I ain't want to say nothing because I ain't want to trip nobody out. But since I heard her ask my niece that and that shit happened, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on or whatever? She was like, I don't want to say, it's a big, nice house. It was freshly built. No one lived in it. It's a freshly built home, whatever. So she's like, I didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want to trip nobody out. And she's like, maybe I was tripping. She's like, because I had just woke up, so maybe I was tripping. She's like, I woke up, she walked into her bathroom to go use her bathroom. Their bathroom, the way it is like the left side is her side and the right side is her husband's side. So she walked into use hers, and she said as soon as she walked into like her walk-in closet, she's like the attic, like it looked like it was just closing, but she's like she couldn't tell though because it was like I just woke up with it, like maybe I was tripping, whatever. But she didn't think nothing of it. But with the doll situation, that made us say that. I mean, that made us think about that, whatever. So that's why I was like, dolls, dog. I got my share of stories with dolls. I was like, and that's why I think that, man. I was like, I legit feel like they were made for that reason at one point. I don't think they're still made for that. I think they were made for that reason at that point. We were talking ish right now. You ain't got to believe none of this ish. This is just me and my horror world right now. But either way it go, I feel like they were made because people were like, oh shit, I don't want to go here, or it's going wrong. You know, I'm gonna make this doll because I miss my daughter, or I miss my son, or I miss my cousin. So I want to put that spirit into this doll. Or I don't want to leave. I'm putting my spirit into that doll. Man, dolls creep me out, dog. People legit that was the toys people used to make back then in their attics. We heard stories. Or it could just be they just made dolls because, hey, they wanted to make toys that look like humans. I don't fucking know the reason behind it. It could just be innocent. Who knows? I like to think the other ish. Like, no. Hey, this little joint gone, dog. Ain't even nothing left here. I don't know why I've been sitting here lighting this little more. I'm about to go get up out of here, though. Go ahead and enjoy your day, night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. But about